it's a tough decision, but I love the characters in Essex County. The hockey player Jim, his name.
Lou and Vince.
Lou and Vince. Those guys.
And Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy, the gas station guy. I felt sorry for him because he played in the NHL. Yeah, Jimmy LeBouf. He played in the NHL. He had one shift with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he got hit into the boards. But he said it was his best moment. You see a broken man physically, but his spirit is still strong, and his connection with Leicester is just so hard. It just tugs at the heartstrings.
George, I was curious about you. I thought about you while reading that book about these hockey players. Yeah. Did those characters resonate for you?
They really did, actually. A lot of them did. That was really close between this one and Angus, obviously. Right. You know, I'm into politics. Angus, that's kind of my personality. You know,
Angus is in Terry Fals's book.
The way that he is, he speak his mind. He's in a position that he didn't really want to be in. I kind of got be put in the same kind of, not as bad, but kind of the same situation. The way that he is, he doesn't listen to other people the way they are, and I'm kind of like that. And when I listened to that, I saw myself do that and stuff, and I thought it was amazing, and the way that the story was.
In fact, when they cast this movie, other than the fact that Angus in the book in The Best Laid Plans is a crusty old Scot with a heavy brogue, it could be him.
Thank you, Ali. Sarah, what character outside of Essex County resonated for you?
Rita Winters from Unless. Yeah, I loved her, and the connection between her and her children, but also to writing. And there's a character in the book, Danielle Westerman, I believe it is, who's a feminist writer. She's translating books on her behalf. Just everything about her I really admired. And obviously a terrible situation. Her daughter is living on the streets. And some of the passages about missing her, watching her from afar, I cried. Like, I cried a lot, actually. And I was saying before we came out today that it was the book that I constantly was earmarking pages and underlining, and I think it's a beautifully written book, and I loved the character.
Debbie Travis, did Unless work for you in that same way?
It did. I met Carol Shields many years ago at a book award, and I was quite disappointed because I found the book very predictable, and I was quite sad about that. I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I knew with the burning and all that, I knew the minute it was told at the beginning of the book that it was going to come out in the end. But my favourite character was a real surprise to me, was actually Digger in George's book. I can't think of anybody more opposite than me than a wrestler going for the Olympics. But when you look at it, it's a book about striving and trying to be the best you can, and failure, and everybody's had this, and when it doesn't work, it's crippling, and there's nothing more crippling than an Olympian who doesn't make it in the end. And it's a very poignant, and I mean, there's this big, hefty, you know, wrestler. I know nothing about wrestling, but I've had children who have been disappointed when they don't make it in sport. I've been disappointed when, you know, things haven't worked out the way they are. And I think the thing I liked about The Bone Cage, even though you'd think, oh, I'm not going to read that, I wouldn't have picked that book up because I'm not interested, particularly in sport, but I'm interested in the journey that people take to be the best they can be, and the sweat and tears.
Okay, well done. An eloquent defense of The Bone Cage there. All right, that is the end of our debate. Believe it or not, for this day. We're going to get to voting here. This is Canada Reads on CBC Radio 1, Sirius Satellite 137, Bold Television, live streaming at streaming video at cbc.ca/Canada Reads. We also have an online poll going. This was all over the weekend. Thousands of people voting. We're asking Canadians to rank all 5 Canada Reads books. At the moment, the least popular book, by quite a margin, is Unless by Carol Shields. So if it were up to Canadians right now, in terms of the people voting, Carol Shields' Unless would be the book that would be removed from the table. That's what Canadians have said. Panelists, you can do whatever you want with that information. It doesn't have to affect you. If you haven't yet decided which book to vote against, maybe that will help. If not, okay. And on this note, let's get to the vote. We started out last fall with a list of hundreds of Canadian books nominated by the public. That went down to a top 10. With your help, panelists, that was edited down to 5. Now the short list of 5 is about to get even shorter. You've heard the arguments. We know how the public feels now. It's time for you to make a choice. Panelists, when I tell you, I want you to mark an X beside the one book you want to eliminate from Canada Reads. This is the book that you think should go. All right? Go. Vote. Debbie from the Canada Reads team will come around and collect your ballot once you're done. Which novel will leave the bookshelf? Will it be the political satire, The Best Laid Plans by Terry Follis? Ali Velshi hopes not. Will it be The Bone Cage by Angie Abdu, the story of two Olympic hopefuls, championed by Georges Larac? Will it be Essex County, the graphic novel by Jeff Lemire? That's Sara Quin's book. Will it be Unless by Carol Shields, Lauren Cardinal's choice? Or will it be The Birth House, written by Amy McKay, supported by Debbie Travis? Panelists have all voted. The nation awaits. All right, I'm going to read. I'm going to call on each one of you to tell me which book you've eliminated. Obviously, if 3 votes, if any book gets 3 votes right off the top, we know it's gone. Let me start with you, Georges Larac. Which book did you vote to eliminate from Canada Reads 2011?
No, I hate this part. It's the worst part ever. I vote Essex County. I'm sorry.
Georges Larac votes against Essex County. So 1 vote to eliminate Essex County. Sara Quin, which book did you vote to eliminate from Canada Reads 2011?
The Bone Cage.
I don't feel so bad now. I feel better.
You know, I've been waiting for weeks just to see you two sitting next to each other.
Also.
1 vote against Essex County, 1 vote against The Bone Cage. Debbie Travis, which book did you vote to eliminate from Canada Reads 2011?
It's hard, and it's only because I think it's a beautiful book, but it's only because I don't think it's the essential book for the last 10 years, and that's Essex County.
All right. 2 votes against Essex County. 1 more vote will mean it's gone. 1 vote against The Bone Cage. Lauren Cardinal, which book did you vote to eliminate from Canada Reads 2011?
Well, it was close. It was close between 2 books I was toying with, but I just, I picked Essex County only because I know, right?
Essex County has been eliminated from Canada Reads 2011.
But I gotta say, the work is stunning. The only reason I did it was not because it's graphic content, but because it's a short story form. What my tipping point was.
Right.
It's a collection of short stories.
Does that make you feel better?
No, I mean,
it's Jeff's fault.
Let me just before let me just get Ali Velshi your vote.
There's really no need to read my vote.
No, actually, I think there is. Curious to hear how you would have voted. How you did vote.
I voted to eliminate the book that most surprised me to the upside, that was haunting and that was heartbreaking, but it was Essex County.
All right. So Essex County goes down 4 votes
I'm disappointed.
to 1.
I'm not surprised, honestly. And this is nothing against all of you, but I do think you represent the demographic that I hope, at least, I'm not going to get to talk about the book much more, but you're the demographic that isn't going to read this book, and I think it's a shame because it's a retro sort of idea. This book is accepted. These types of books are accepted as novels, and I do think that this is the type of book that's going to grab a younger viewership, and it's going to grab a different type of viewership. And these books are all great, but they are sort of more traditional and safe. And I totally understand why this would scare people, especially with the tight upper neck. Yeah, but I just think I'm still pleading to people to read this book, and again, I'm not surprised. I'm sorry that I couldn't convince you guys otherwise, and I think it's a shame, and I also think that yeah, like I said, it's a little bit it's sad to me. It's sad to me.
This is
too
early for a book like that. Maybe
it's
20
years ago. 20 years ago, you know, people were giving critical praise and claim to people like Art Spiegelman and Chris Ware and the Persepolis series, all these types of things. And I think maybe across the border, there's more movement for this type of thing, and hopefully Canada can catch up.
Ali, was it?
I'm going to wear a tank top tomorrow.
Was it really? I mean, was this partly strategy? It seemed like such an obvious one to pick on. Or did you really believe that this wasn't the best?
Let me tell you, before I read the book, it was going to be the first one voted off. When I read it, I wavered on it. Like I said, big upside surprise for me. I really did enjoy it. I am coming into this competition with the idea, a very committed idea, because of what I do on a daily basis and how many people I deal with who do not have enough information and do not read enough, that I need this to end up as a competition that causes people to read more, and I'm not sure that's the answer to that solution. That said, I really respect the book.
Why can't people read more
I don't think that's
going
to solve our problem of low literacy levels. I don't think that's going to solve our problem of creative and interpretive thinking. That's why.
But a political satire about Canadian politics.
It's a satire. It's not a comedy. It's not a comedy. That's the important part.
You know, it matters that it was a graphic novel. That didn't bother me at all.
But that's why you voted against it.
No, it wasn't. It was the lack of writing on the graphic novel.
That's my issue. It's the
words.
A page. I mean,
I read it in the bath.
I loved the illustrations.
But I was like, flip it. There was like sometimes 8 pages.
But you missed, and that's exactly what's so sad to me is you obviously missed it. I could stare at some of these panels.
But
I mean, there's so
a
many stories.
That's
inside.
watching a movie.
But that's what you've said is that it's not a novel. But this is a novel to me, and I think it does force people to access a different part of their brain. And again, like I feel like I'm getting all the coverage I'm going to get on this book, but I challenge people to read this book and to read books from this genre. There are so many people. I mean, I could talk for hours about graphic novels and the cartoons and that genre and the people that are writing these books. They're doing something that these books aren't doing, and they are writing about relevant things. Historically, they're writing about political fights that are happening in Bosnia and Palestine. Again, like I totally understand where you guys are coming from. It's not a surprise.
Lauren, when I asked you your favorite characters outside of your own book, you picked characters from Essex County, but you voted against the book.
Right, I know it's a contradiction, but it's because it is the pictures are worth 1,000 words. Minus the words. That's the only the reason. I mean, I got so much out of it. You're right. Every panel tells a story, invokes a mood and atmosphere, but it is lacking words. And again, Ali's got some valid points about literacy in this country, the use of words, and having a conversation with younger people without the term "like" in it would be it's about educating Canadians further and getting them to pick up books and novels. But I highly recommend the forum. I have great admiration for the forum. I wish all the artists... Yeah, exactly. Well, Essex County.
Weeks of anticipation and people betting on what they thought would go first. We now know it's Jeff Lemire's Essex County is off the shelf. It's no longer part of Canada Reads. The 4 remaining books going into tomorrow. The Best Laid Plans by Terry Follis, Unless by Carol Shields, The Birth House by Amy McKay, The Bone Cage by Angie Abdu. You know that you're actually the new... You're going to be the most popular. You're the most popular person at the table all of a sudden, right? So, do you have any particular strategy you go to now?
No, I mean, I sort of have pretty strong feelings about all of the books, so I don't know that I could be swayed. I don't think any of us were going to be swayed here. I think that we all sort of came in with our feelings pretty set in stone.
A very strong first day. Thank you all. Get a good sleep. Go read what people are saying about you on Twitter. And we'll see you all tomorrow, all right? Well done. Thanks to the panelists, Ali Velshi, Debbie Travis, Georges Larocque, Sara Quin, Lauren Cardinal. They'll be back tomorrow. If you need a Canada Reads fix before then, check out cbc.ca/Canada Reads. We've got live chats. Maybe it'll change now. Perhaps influence the next book to get voted off. Let us know what you think of the show. You can reach us by email, canadareads@cbc.ca. You can find me on Twitter at Jian Gameshi. Thank you so much for listening today and watching us. To be continued. I say done.